Hello! It's me, Richard Lewis Brown. Today is July 18th, 2021. I'm not sure if anyone knows, but today is the Sabbath. All praise to the God through Jesus Christ. And to Ishmael and Isaac, I see you very well. Oh, I'm looking at the camera. I see you very well. I love you, and I love everyone, whether you believe in God or not. In this great country, you can believe in a religion, or you can choose to believe in yourself. It does not matter. The only thing you should know is I'm going to love you and treat you with full respect and full dignity. Okay, as I stated, today is July 18th, 2021. I'm not sure if you realize when I ran for president of Local 1000, I would always say, I'm going to work around the clock. So usually when people run for political office, they'll tell you anything and everything you want to hear to win your vote. And then when they win the position, then you don't hear from them again. You can't reach them. You know, when they were trying to get your vote, you could call them any time of the night. They'd be glad to talk to you. But once you elect them and put them in office, can't find them. Well, I'm not like that. People still call me at all hours of the night during the day. I'm always here to answer their questions. So I'm in Fresno. I am in Fresno, California. And I came today off of a conversation I had with a bunk chair, Luisa Luama. I'm not saying her last name right, forgive me. So we had a conversation and she said, why don't you come down so we can continue to talk? And she knows that I'm trying to build an alliance with the bunk chairs in the same manner that I'm trying to build an alliance with the board so we can have that meeting again to help the good people in Lansing County. Because we know that prison closure for the California Correctional Center is wrong. It's clearly wrong. It's not right. And when you're represented by Local 1000, you're under a signed contract, we will protect your wages and working conditions and your job status, period. That's what a labor union does. And so we were talking on Friday, and she said, well, come on down on Sunday. And I was coming down on Sunday because I had a meeting with someone else. And I said, okay, great. So yesterday, unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it today. And so hopefully her family will be okay. Our prayers go out to Luisa. On Friday, she said, why don't you invite the DLC president? Duh. So the DLC president, 772, Mary Dela Cruz, eagerly said, yes, I'll be there. Not only did she come today, she brought a whole crew of people with her. And the DLC president 771, Tommy Rico, he drove up. So this is the first time where I'm doing a live video where I have two DLC presidents at the same time. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're gonna have a live conversation. Nothing is scripted, nothing is edited. If my count is right, I have 14 people. And y'all know that Richard DeReal, 7437, you heard me give all the verbiage. 14 people. As I say on video, I can't make this up. 14 people, 7437. First number 7, last number 7. 14. When I tell you God's with me, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. Okay, and today is July 18th. 7 and 18 is 25. What does that really mean, 25? It adds up to 7. What is my age? Flip it around, 52. Enough said. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna ask everyone in this room to ask me questions about money. Money. Okay, so I'm opening this conversation up. Who wants to talk about money? If I look away from the camera, then I'm looking into someone's eyes across the room. All right. Question about money.
Unit 11.
That's a good one, Richard.
Oh,
So
okay.
how does it benefit our union by cutting members' dues in half? That's a good money question.
I love it. I love it. So I was asked, how does it benefit our union by cutting membership dues by 50%? Our union has a perception problem that they have never represented everyone. And therefore, because of that perception problem, in many people's eyes is reality, as a new president, I would want to definitely reduce your dues because everyone needs financial relief in this great country. There are people in our union, ma'am, living paycheck to paycheck. But you'll never hear them say it on Facebook or in social media. Reducing the dues is a great financial relief for many people in Local 1000. Many people. We have people in our union who are homeless, but you won't hear them say it openly. And when we lost 2 days of pay through no fault of our own, for no unnecessary reason, many people asked, since we lost 2 days of pay for a whole fiscal period under a signed contract, why didn't they reduce our dues? I'm gonna say it for you again. We were under a signed contract. We were asked to give up our money because of the COVID crisis, because they sold you on this idea that we were all in this together. And when they reduced our dues, we voluntarily gave up our money. We didn't ask you to, quote, the union didn't say we're gonna reduce the money you pay us. Why not? Why not? Everyone needs financial relief, particularly now. And so therefore, this idea of reducing the dues in half, to me, is the right thing to do. Now, I understand that many people would disagree with me on this. Here's what I know. People who make good money, they don't mind paying the dues and the full cost. But I know custodians and others who would love to have reduced dues. And, to the people on the lower end of the spectrum, reducing their dues probably means an extra week of buying groceries, gas money. And most of us, I'll speak for myself, I'm on a budget. And I can guarantee you by that third week, I'm dying. I'm dying to get to the next payday. Because this whole idea that Local 1000 has told you we need to live on a livable wage, you can't live like that. You'll never have anything. And so by reducing the dues, that kind of helps eliminate that status quo culture of the past of we're charging you all this money, but yet we don't enforce our contract. So that's why I say that. Okay, what's the next question? Yes.
For reducing dues, I don't like paying the dues. Okay, I'm not gonna blow smoke up your skirt. But,
Okay.
I pay the dues because our union needs the money to actually be able to mount the defense should we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if there's magically some surplus that we can find
Mm-hmm.
in our due premium, rather than reducing dues, and yet keeping your word of reducing dues,
Mm-hmm.
an approach to this, in my humble opinion, would be let new people join the union, you add to the union's voice
Mm-hmm.
at a reduced rate for 12 months or something. Your membership would shoot up. All of a sudden, we'd all be purple whatever day you pick. It seems to me that would be kind of the best of both worlds. Our union doesn't, if our union had extra money, we would have a strike fund, and I don't see a strike fund. And I heard you talk about that, and I think that's a great idea, but I don't understand how we're supposed to come up with more money by decreasing our revenue.
So,
And
We'll get
she-
more
she
members
wants to
that
add,
way,
I think
if I
she
don't
wants
mind.
to
Oh, go
add.
ahead,
No,
Patty.
no,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Patty. She had her hand raised.
Right here.
okay, so you want me to try to answer this question? You want to jump on this
Well,
question?
I want to jump on that question,
Okay.
and I like your idea of the reduced for a certain time period to see where that takes us. I think that there's a couple ways we could accomplish the reduction in the dues. If you reduce the dues, more people will join, so you'll have more people represented, more power, but the same amount of money. We also, in releasing a lot of the people that were out on union leave unnecessarily, I think that that's going to release a lot of the funds that we were using. A lot of the money that was going towards politics that didn't necessarily benefit us, like with, for instance, our current governor. I think there's a lot of money to be found. I like the idea, though, of the whole 1-year trial period of reduced dues to get everybody kind of back on track. That might be one way to approach it. But I think if you lower the cost, you're going to have more people want to join. The problem with us having that money is the more money we were collecting, the more the dues went up. That was not going towards representation, okay? The representation budget is extremely tight. We need more reps that are able to actually represent us. There's no point in having a contract and paying for a contract and getting a governor on board to get us a contract if we can't enforce the contract. The contract, like Richard was saying, we had a signed contract and we got screwed, okay? We need to enforce the contract once we get a signed contract. But I just want to piggyback. I think that the reduced rate for maybe a year to try it out is an interesting idea.
Well, I think it kind of goes with your thing, and that's why I brought this up, your statement of, the poorest people need the most relief. Well, the poorest people are our new employees. I mean, I'm topped out of my job.
Right.
Am I rich? No. I knew I wasn't gonna be rich when I signed the one on the paper saying I work for California. However, I'm supposed to have job security and not deal with the 10% pay cut that I just dealt with. I'm supposed to not be harassed at my workplace. I'm willing to pay part of my salary to enforce what I'm supposed to have. But at the same time, I understand that these, especially these new people, the first year, they're not getting much anyway. We can't protect them. The state can come in and say, you're gone because I don't like the color of your hair. Give them the first year free. Maybe even give them the second year at 50%. But get them on board, and the reflection in that, I think, will be seen in numbers. I mean, I think it fits perfect with your 10-point plan.
Yeah.
And
The
I've
rep-
never had
agree.
a chance to
I
talk to
agree.
you
Yeah.
before. So this is our first time actually talking other than yelling at each other on Facebook.
Right.
Because we both have strong opinions.
Right, that's right, that's
But,
right.
I want you to know, I think about what you said you're gonna do. I think you have some really good ideas, and I think if you listen to people and keep yourself out there, you're gonna start really making waves.
And if you analyze who your new employees are, they may be the displaced housewives, they may be students with a lot of debt, and that would really bring them on board.
People who
Let
used to be
representation
employees,
sell
but their
membership.
husband left them, and
Yes,
now they're
displaced-
coming
No,
forward.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on one second.
Your
Hold on.
plan would work. for
All
them.
right, so I'm not, people say, Richard, don't interrupt us, let us talk. All right, I'm trying to watch the comments and hear every conversation in the room. I see you over here as well. First thing, a person asked, I won't say their name, a person asked about reducing the dues by 50% for new people. That's not a bad idea. My platform said 50% reduction of dues for everyone equally, so I don't show favoritism. But what this person said to me has been said to me multiple times by other people. So he's absolutely right in what he's saying. Another person came on and said, if you were spending the money wisely and not spending money in political matters, you would have your reduction in dues by 50%. And so you wouldn't be losing anything. And then this person also stated job representation. So I don't know if many people realize this, but in a few weeks, Local 1000 will have a new structure for the staff. The idea of enforcing our contract and having enough labor reps, you will never have that question ever again. These are great comments. And then someone said, the same person who asked about reduction of dues by 50% said, open yourself up, Richard, and keep going out and meeting people. Part of my campaign, I said I'd go to every work site. Now, was I biased about going to CDCR first? Probably. But I'm trying to show everyone equal love and equal respect. So I will get to every work site. That's a guarantee. Now, they mentioned about the strike fund. A few weeks ago, they said there was $4.3 million in the strike fund for 2 straight years, 2019 and 2020. Something doesn't sound right. I don't believe that. And so by the 21st, I'm supposed to have a report to tell me how we can build a strike fund. How much money would be in that strike fund? A considerable amount of money. Everybody knows I said between 25 to 50 million. Did I say how we're going to spend the strike fund and how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that? No, because that's strategy. So a lot of people don't like the fact that I do videos out in the open for everyone to watch. What people fail to realize is our union has a perception of being secretive and not telling people things. What I'm trying to show is we're going to create the #1 union across the U.S. And the other union presidents who say that they're fighting for their people, we're getting ready to find out what you're really made of. Because we have one here at Local 1000 that's practicing what he preached, okay? And a lot of people say, well, we don't like the fact that it's out in the open and, we never consented to this. All of my videos are out in the open. This is not a consent. This is not me calling you on the phone and talking to you and asking for your consent to record this phone call. But see, this is what happens. You have people from the status quo who refuse to look at things and be part of this new, quote, culture for Local 1000. And when people say, hey, we want to have change in our union, you can't change what you never had. And I've said this, we've never been a union. We've been a political, social justice organization. We've never been a labor union. And I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again. And so the narrative, this battle within our union about what Richard's saying versus what everyone else is saying, this is a battle that will not end until everyone realizes that just don't call me President Brown and try to tell me things to make me feel good in my face, but behind my back, you're working to defeat me. I recognize you. I know who you are, okay? I'm asking you to be sincere and honest about fighting for everyone equally in our union, because all of these job stewards who claim that they're fighting for their people, claim that they're using our contract to fight for our people, realize something. Not everybody is paying dues to this union, but by that contract as a job steward, you're supposed to represent that person, period. When's the last time you heard that? You haven't in ages because of the Janus decision. So this idea that people are just free riding and not paying, but we have to still represent them, we're gonna start this educational thing. Because when this started off in 1977, the trick was put in to where we have to carry people who don't pay money because we have the exclusive representative clause, in the Ralph C. Dills Act. It's okay, it's okay. So this is what it is. Whether people pay money or not, we still have to represent people per that contract. Okay, so I've said a little bit about that. Those are great questions, and we'll probably revisit them all over again. So I have another question coming right now. Go ahead, sir.
No, Patty, she answered pretty much what I was thinking about the dues. So she
Okay.
pretty much summed everything up. I was just gonna comment on what the gentleman over here was talking about.
Right.
As far as, and the lady here, she was saying that the new employees should maybe not have to pay, but I think it should be the reverse. I mean, I've been a union member for 30 years. My increases have been below the cost of living for the last umpteen years. So it's actually, even though I'm making more on my salary, I'm really making less because less of my money can pay for less. I make a decent salary, I will say, but I'm not making what others in our classification across the board in other cities and counties throughout the state are making pretty much far below that. And that's what our issue was with Unit 11, why we ended up voting no against the contract because we didn't agree. But getting back to what the gentleman said here about the new people coming in, they got benefits, they get their glasses paid for now, where maybe before they didn't. So they are getting benefits. And then also, when you're paying dues, it's a percentage. They're not paying at the top level of dues when they're starting out. Some maybe students just coming in getting a job, which is great, but I think it maybe should be the flip side. Maybe those that have been here for 30 years should get a reduction in their dues for paying their dues for those 30 years.
So what he said about maybe it should be on the flip side, people who've been in the service for a lot of years, they should get a reduction in their dues. This is this argument about when you have smart people in the room and they can look at the numbers. You can take numbers and bend them any way you want. You can argue from numbers on different platforms. But when you argue from love in your heart, from righteousness, you only state things one way. And this is why I said, reduce the dues for everyone equally. Don't try to single things out. It's no different than when we have contracts. We all get a general salary pay increase, but yet some people got more money in this last contract. Special salary adjustments.
Right.
Okay? Now, I realize that every state employee, and I'm going outside of Local 1000, every state employee is underpaid, disrespected, and unappreciated in the state of California. This is what I know, okay? And we know we don't get paid enough money. And then they say, well, you have this great pension. And so they sell you on this fact you have this great pension if you live to see it. And if you live to see it and you have a good, healthy eating habits, lifestyle, that you can get your money out of that. And so when people say, we have this great pension. And I say, well, are you eating your fruits and vegetables every day? Because you can best believe I am. I am not about to give the state not one dime. I'm trying to live another 30 years after I retire. Okay? But that's just me. Other people may say, hey, I'm going to laugh and have a good time. I'm going to take it day by day. I'm not trying to give the state of California not one extra. I'm going to jump ahead on something. I've been saying that 21% pay increase for everyone equally. I realize that for a lot of people in Local 1000, it's not enough money. And I'm not to put this gentleman on the spot, but I lost votes in 2018 to the transportation engineering technicians because I didn't tell them something extra. I told everyone the same thing in 2018, and I'm saying the same thing now in 2021. Everyone gets paid equally. 21% pay increase. We need the strike fund as our financial leverage because you can look at these politicians and see that they don't have your back, okay? 21% pay increase. I see the comments. I'm gonna get to your comments in a second. COLA and GeoPay. Cost of living allowance to keep up with the rate of inflation. Some of you say we don't need it, and I disagree. I say GeoPay, and not just for these little 4 certain counties, which was still a good thing in this current contract. That's a start. But everybody who's in high cost of living areas, I think of San Diego, I think of LA, I think of San Francisco. You're working down there as a state employee making the same money as me, and I'm in Sacramento, and I'm counting my little pennies. How are you living? And then, one quick thing, Tommy. I'm sorry, I don't say anybody's name. Before people can jump on me about this healthcare, the rising cost of healthcare, let me play catch up. Some of you, and I'm not trying to single out the ladies, but it appears to me that women know this like that. The healthcare costs are rising. So before you call me crazy and out of control, because I'm saying a 21% pay increase, take a look at this healthcare cost that's going to rise next year. Maybe I'm not so crazy after all. The OPEB, other post-employment benefits, that OPEB 3.5% that kicked back in this month, we should have never, ever, ever paid that money. We had that healthcare, retiree healthcare guaranteed by government code. Okay, I'll calm back down. Okay, so with that being said, here's the next question. Go ahead, sir.
I kind of want to touch back on, we talked about GeoPay, right? And that's from the last contract. One thing we talked about on the GeoPay report, there was a lot more than just 4 counties listed, right? The 4 counties is what the state finally agreed to for GeoPay. However, my biggest frustration was when we started GeoPay, GeoPay started in addition to rural healthcare. They were going hand in hand. You know, for the high cost of living areas, we'll get them additional pay. For the rural counties, getting rural healthcare back added on. It used to be what we had on before. Case in point, when I was up in Pelican Bay, to see a specialist, I had to drive 7 hours. That was the closest specialist because of how far away I was. I had to go down to San Francisco to get to a specialist. That's just how it is, and that's why we had rural healthcare. Well, then what ended up happening was we only picked one. We were focusing on GeoPay, and we're forgetting about rural healthcare. So both of those started off hand in hand. Obviously, we had more than just 4 counties listed when that started, because you're talking about San Diego, LA, we have even Sacramento. Honestly, what we should do is just use the IRS's high cost cities and counties as justification. That's why they're out there. They put out a report every year of high cost of living areas. Cool, let's just piggyback off of that. They've already done the work for us. The IRS has. They're telling us these areas cost more to live in. Great, but like I said, let's not forget about rural healthcare, because that is what always gets forgotten in the conversation of GeoPay, that these two were built together. Rural healthcare supports GeoPay, GeoPay supports rural healthcare, but we've forgotten about rural healthcare now. You know, so that's my frustration with that, right? I do agree, people in high cost of living should get an extra allowance, but let's not forget the rural areas who, for us to see a doctor, have to travel. We don't have specialists in our cities. You know, that's one thing I don't want to have forgotten out there, because that's why when I initially got or try to get involved in a lot of the rural healthcare and GeoPay. Rural healthcare I was involved in, and they involved us with GeoPay, so say, hey, support us, we'll support you, and that never happened, right? So that's kind of the frustration when people talk about GeoPay and then people always forget rural healthcare. So I just want to throw that out there because that's something that is important to, let's do our number statewide. We have urban, we have rural. Both have different needs and we can't just focus on one's needs over the other.
So this person said, we can't forget about, as I say affectionately, people in the country, about their health care. It's funny because I've never heard the bunk chairs call and talk to me about this. I hear a lot of things every day, and I kind of wonder, how have these contracts been done over all these years? What have these bunk chairs really been fighting for? You know, I have questions, which goes back to Lassen County. That's in the country. And the fact that they're losing their jobs while under a signed contract, and the fact that they say, well, they'll be transferred. When they close this county down, this prison down, you're going to destroy that community. So when someone says about the rural healthcare, people out in the country, I said this repeatedly, this is an attack on small towns across America and not just here in the state of California. But what we do here in California goes across the country. And you say, well, how do you know that for sure, Richard? Let's go back to Schwarzenegger. When these unions, and I'm not going to just blame Local 1000, all of these public sector unions in the state of California, when you didn't go at Schwarzenegger and get him under control, and he furloughed us, and the Democrats in the legislature agreed to that, so they had bipartisan support between the Republican and the Democrat, and people lost 2 days and then went to 3 days of pay. When that happened, and the unions in this state, public sector unions, did not stand up, that trickled to the counties and the cities, not just in California, but all across the nation, because we didn't do our job correctly. And it's the same thing now when we lost that money. So let me go to the comment that I saw. Richard, where's that money at? We want our money back. We want that 2 days back. You're right. First of all, I have not gotten you your essential worker pay. I'm told by the staff it's not in the budget. You read the papers and it tells you $27 billion from the federal government. The papers tell you $76 billion, our money, from 40 billion is really surplus. I think the remainder goes to the schools here in California. We got billions upon billions upon billions. But yet you don't have your essential worker premium pay, hazard pay, hero pay. Why haven't I spoke to the governor? I am trying to reach out to him for the last several days. So you say, well, Richard, you mean to tell me that Local 1000 doesn't have a number for you to call directly? Aren't you supposed to be the president of the most powerful public sector union in the state of California? Yeah, public sector. And I would say, yes, you're correct. They don't have the number. We have to go through the proper channels. I'm trying to go through a back channel. I'm working around the clock. I'm not making this up for you. To those who I forgot to mention, I said the LVNs. I said the RNs. I talked about Caltrans. To everyone who heated me up with those emails, no problem. I forgot about the pharmacy techs, laboratory assistants, everyone in CDCR. You know what I should say? Everyone represented by Local 1000 who worked their tail off during this COVID crisis. You need your money. I'm not going to single out just the CDCR because I was wrong to do that. But when CDCR calls me, they have a tendency to make me move quickly. But everybody wants me to move quickly. And I don't care if you had to stay home and work telecommuting, you were still essential. And I know those people in EDD, I got the message. You don't have to keep calling me. I got the message.
Can I interrupt you, please?
Yes.
Thank you. You're here for us today.
Okay, hold on, please, ma'am. Hold on, ma'am.
No, I
Ma'am,
really,
ma'am,
because you know
ma'am,
what?
ma'am,
You're
ma'am,
a little
ma'am,
show here.
ma'am,
Excuse me,
ma'am,
you're here for
ma'am,
us.
We need a
ma'am,
sergeant at arms in here.
ma'am,
We
ma'am,
need, we do need
ma'am,
something.
ma'am,
You need to let them
ma'am,
know. He has said the
ma'am,
same
Raise your
thing
hand like
Ma'am.
everyone else.
for hours.
ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am.
You can't show self-contained.
The- Yeah.
I'm the DLC
Yeah.
president.
Good.
Yeah.
And I'm also a member, and I can
Yeah.
also interrupt him when he
Right.
says the
No,
same
no, you
thing
cannot,
over
hold
and
on,
over and
ma'am,
over.
ma'am,
And you wouldn't do it to
ma'am,
Yvonne.
ma'am, you would not, ma'am. First of all, hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second, hold on a second. I never interrupted nobody in this room. I never interrupted no one in this room. Let me finish what I'm saying. And I keep saying the same thing over because that's how Richard Lewis Brown got elected president, because I'm consistent in what I'm saying. And then once I'm done, then you can ask your question. Okay?
Obviously not, because you're never done.
Then leave.
I'm
It's
not
not
leaving.
productive
That's
for
why I'm
you.
here. It was for me to come and meet him and ask him
met him.
questions.
Okay.
Not to listen
If
to him
it's
repeat
not
the same
productive
thing
for you,
over
then
and over
you
and
need to
over.
choose how to spend your
That's
time,
why
Christie.
I'm glad.
You don't tell me what to do, Patty.
I'm not telling you,
Neither
I'm
do
saying
you,
if
and
it's
you
not
get out of my
productive
space.
for you, you need to
You're
make
in
your
my
own
space.
decision.
I need you to move.
You're being disrespectful.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Very rude.
I think,
That's
and
fine.
this is a person who wants to be steward representing a work site. I don't want.
No, don't wanna
stewards.
be. I am one, and I
No,
have
you're
been
not.
for a year and a half.
It must be
I'm
a
sorry,
shitty one.
I'm
with
sorry, I
that.
Don't
apologize.
touch me.
Okay.
Don't touch
Mary,
me.
hey, Mary, hold on a second, hold on a second. You know what? This person is here to ask questions. And I'm going to answer her questions the way I want to answer them because I'm the president of Local 1000.
You haven't answered the
Okay,
first one.
no, I did answer your first question, ma'am. Now I
need
keep
you-
calling,
I
hold
need
on,
you to
hold on a
respect
second.
me for a moment and
Wait,
get her
wait,
out of my
okay,
space.
Mary, just Mary.
Yes.
Talk about respect.
Okay, so I've answered everyone's question, and this is why I do these live videos. I'm not saying people's names on these live videos to give them their privacy. But when I'm showing you live across America about Local 1000, about the status quo behavior of people in the past and how they cannot rectify the fact that Richard Lewis Brown won this election. This is the problem in our union. Okay, so go ahead, ma'am. What's your next question?
Okay, I have a list.
Well,
You're gonna be here all day with your
so
questions.
here's what we're going to do.
Obviously, no one
Ma'am,
else has time to
ma-
ask any because
ma'am.
you won't stop talking.
Okay.
And you're being rude.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're being
It's
rude.
about time someone is rude enough to
You're
make
also-
him
Yeah,
stop
but that's rude.
talking.
And you're
I'm here
also-
to listen to him.
We're-
I'm
And you're
saying the
rude.
same thing. These are questions from our members.
You're the
that I
only
have.
one that's
You
complaining,
know what?
Christie.
Email
So
it.
not
you need to spend your
complaining. I
time
just
how you
need
choose to
time
spend it.
Right.
Also,
Scan it and send it to them.
You know what?
I agree.
Oh, that was really professional.
You're being a
Patty.
bully. You
Yeah,
are
that's
being a
not being
bully.
No, I wasn't.
Yes,
I
you
was
are.
like
Yes, you
this.
are.
It's
Yes,
the
you
same
are. Yes,
crap.
there's many
Christie,
different of us here. We're
Christie,
all wrong.
you're
saying
being
you're
unprofessional.
It
All right.
doesn't work that way. We all feel
So,
that. So
here-
please leave.
Wow.
So,
I hope-
listen,
I
hold
hope
on.
that this is
So,
found that
yeah.
I've been attacked by
No,
your
you're not being
fault.
attacked,
You've
ma'am.
been
You're not
attacked.
being attacked. So here's the great thing about doing live
She's the
videos.
victim.
Here's the great thing about doing live videos in the country. They're unscripted. They're unedited. This person has questions to ask me. She's asked me one question. I'm trying to make sure everybody across the table has an opportunity to ask me a question. And then I'll go to her second question. And then everybody else can chip in. And then I'll go to her third question. It's no different than Local 1000 listens to you when it's on a Zoom link. And I also do Facebook Live. Okay, ma'am, go ahead. What's your next question?
So how does it benefit our union by getting out of politics?
That's a great question. That is a great question. She said, how does it benefit our union by getting out of politics? So remember I talked about Schwarzenegger? We had all these political alliances, but yet we weren't protected from Schwarzenegger.
How long ago was that? I don't have a mute button, and neither do you. How long ago was that?
When he was governor, where have you been living?
Right, but how long, when are we gonna come to today?
Okay, so she has interrupted and she said, how long ago was that? That was in the 2009. It started in February, 2 days, and then it went to a third day in July of 2009. So this is why I do homework, because when people come at me, I want them to come and bring everything they got, because I'm gonna get right back at them.
Okay.
Then we had it in 2010, the 2010 to 2013 contract.
Obviously, she wasn't a state
Um,
worker. If she would've got pay cut, she must not have been a state
So
worker.
in the 2010 to 2013 contract with Governor Jerry Brown on his second go-around, we gave up 1 day's pay. So all of our strategic alliances didn't help us. We gave up 1 day's of pay, the 2010 POP. Then in April, May of 2012, he asked for another day while we were under a signed contract. Okay, another day while we were under a signed contract, the 2012 POP. So our strategic alliances did not help us. So when they say, how can we get out of politics? How is getting out of politics is going to help us? If we had a strike fund and we were enforcing our contract, you wouldn't need a politician to help you or save you. You'd save yourself. Now, let's go to currently today. April of last year in 2020, the governor said, we need you to give up 2 days of pay, but not for one fiscal year. Remember what he said. We need it for 2 straight fiscal periods. 2 straight. So we did a side letter agreement. So this governor, we call him Gavin, people in our union during his campaign took pictures with this man. They said he was labor friendly and we had to support him the way we supported Governor Brown. And he turned right around and took 2 days of pay for a whole fiscal year. This time he cut it short. He cut it short because of the recall situation. So when someone says, getting out of politics, how is this going to help our union? I would tell you it's going to help us tremendously. It's going to also help us increase our membership with our non-members who are not Democrats, okay? So this is fantastic, and I'm glad she asked that question because a lot of people in the state of California have been asking me that same question. And you've noticed I stay consistent and say the same thing. So when the person said, you say that same stuff all over again, you're right, because I'm not a politician. I'm staying consistent, and I'm staying righteous, and I'm staying true to what I said to you in 2018. I said it back in 2015 and 2021 on the third try. 7 times 3 is 21. This is why I'm here. I'm staying consistent. Getting out of politics will be the smartest thing Local 1000 has ever done. And now we can, quote, create a labor union and not continue the social justice organization. Getting out of politics has not helped us. Has it given you a substantial pay increase over the years? No, it has not. Did it stop us from paying that money for the OPEB? No, it did not. If politics were so important, if Gavin loved you the way I love you, then I wouldn't be talking about where's your essential worker premium pay at. If he loved you so much, he would have paid you back that money that we gave up for no reason at all. If he loved you so much and he cared about you, the labor, he wouldn't be closing down that prison in Lansing County because they voted to recall him. That prison is the #1 prison in the state of California. They have the inmates that help fight these fires. And right now, that fire season up there is hot and heavy. People are losing their homes and the inmates are not going to help because that prison is under schedule to be closed. Okay, so if he loves you so much, and these politicians mean so much to you that you had to rush to set aside, to give $1 million to the SEIU State Council to help him, the millionaire, fight his recall, then I'm going to respect your vote. But please don't get mad at me and come at me 1,000 miles an hour talking about, well, why do we have to get out of politics? From what I can see, from the time I started with state service, these politicians have never helped you. And remember this. Remember this to the day I die. When we lost 2 days of pay and people were struggling before they lost 2 days of pay, and you didn't get your scheduled pay increase of 2.5% on July 1st, 2020, did those politicians decide together to give up their money? No. The Republicans and the Democrats mysteriously, through some great conspiracy, through some great love, said, we must prioritize our money and protect our families. We're not giving up a dime. Enough said. Who has another question?
I wanted to add to
I'm
that
sorry, go
with
ahead.
respect to the political thing. There are some organizations within the state that are considered hybrid organizations. HBEX is one of those,
Yes.
Discovery California. There's also SCIF, and there. I remember Mary telling me that her organization is the same way, in which they don't receive any funds from the general fund from the state of California. All those funds come from what's generated from what they do. So the justification that was given to us was the reason why we had to take that pay cut
Right.
was because our salaries came from the general fund, which our salaries do not. So there was no reason for cutting our salaries at all, period. But we were told by the president, then president, that the justification was to be in solidarity for that.
Right. So this person just asked You just made a great comment.
Great point, Christie. Great.
No, wait a minute. Let me finish.
Don't interrupt.
Okay, let me finish this. Let me finish this. Because I want people to hear this, what she just said. Because I work for an agency like that. There are some state agencies that are not state funded. They're self-funded. Yeah. So SCIF is like that. Covered California is like that. I think the state lottery is like that.
Transportation is like that.
Okay.
Gas tax.
Yeah, the gas tax. So I work for an agency. It's also self-funded. I want you to hear this clearly on this. What the former president said about solidarity, she was actually telling the truth on that part. On that part. This is why Gavin, the Democrat, in 2020, begged us to give up our money. But then he threatened us with furlough. But see, this is how you have to recognize game when you see it. If you give up your money voluntarily, now you can hit all 12 and all the agencies, all 12 public sector unions and all the agencies. But you can't furlough everybody like that. Remember we had those lawsuits years ago and some agencies got that furlough money back? And then Local 1000, they just dropped a lot of those lawsuits because we could have got our money back. See, that's the difference. And I try to tell you this in all my campaigns. POP, you just give your money up under a signed contract. Furlough, the governor furloughs you for a specified day on a Friday or a Monday or whatever day he chooses, and the legislature authorizes it. And what that does is it shuts the state down. But if you just give up your money, then you don't shut the state down because they allow you to take your day off, whenever. But you cannot furlough and get all that money. So you beg the people by threatening them with furlough. And this is how these people in Local 1000 who claim they're so politically savvy. In April 2020, the COVID kicked off in March. We didn't know how tough it was going to be, and then we realized, okay, this is on top of us. We have to do something. So Gavin said, give up the money. And the legislators said, work with him. Even though first they said, no, you don't need to take their money from him. Then they said, go on and work with him because the state government is Democrat controlled. And so you have a Democrat governor. So they're going to stay, together as a party. I want you to understand this. All these smart people in Local 1000, there's no way in hell he was going to furlough us. You say, well, Richard, are you Nostradamus or whatever? How do you know all this? What I know is this. There's no way a Democratic governor was going to furlough us in the year 2020 when you have that presidential election in 2020 and Biden barely beat Trump. This is what I know. This is what I know. And for some reason, somebody didn't know that information. But it's common sense information. You had a Democrat running for the White House and beat a Republican who pulled more votes this time than he did in 2016. It was a massive voter turnout. So no Democrat governor across this nation would do anything to jeopardize that vote. Wake up. Okay.
Richard, can I get in?
Yes.
I think also he wouldn't have done that because of the unemployment and stuff that he wanted to get processed.
Correct.
It was a side room deal.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to,
Obvious.
someone just said he wouldn't furlough us because of the unemployment claims. Wait a minute. See, this is how good God is. When I started state service June 8th, 2009, I worked in EDD, and we were furloughed. So it didn't matter if we were furloughed or POP, we had to still process those claims, okay? And so we still process those claims. Some of the money comes from the state government, some of it comes from the federal government. We still process those claims, but had our money taken from us. And we had to still work those days. So
Okay,
I know
thank
that
you.
firsthand. I know that
Okay,
firsthand.
thank you.
Okay, so these are great questions, and I love the fact that people are speaking their mind. And this is live on a Sunday. And when people have time on Sunday to come see me, whether they like me or not, I'm going to give them that respect. I'm going to let them ask their questions, and then I'm going to answer them back. Okay, so who's in the, was Tommy next?
Yes.
Okay, go, I'm sorry. Oops, I'm not to say your name.
So I wanted to make a clarification just because I work with CCCR, right?
Okay.
The fire camp CCC, they all they do is training, right?
Right.
Antelope Conservation Camp, which is in Susanville,
Right.
is separate from CCC.
Right.
That's where the fire crews get sent out of the conservation camps, not the prisons. Right, so there's just kind of because there's 38 individual fire camps.
Mhm.
They are separate from the institutions.
Mhm.
That's where the fire crews are housed. CCC, all they do is train those inmates. right? So they're moving the training center down to Sierra Conservation, so we're gonna be training. The issue is, I made a post on, on the state employees page of basically the issue is that we have a dwindling number of inmate firefighters that are even eligible, right? We had over 3,000 in 2016, and this last year we have about 16,000. 1,500, 1,600, no, 15,000, 1,500. And so part of the problem is we're getting less and less people who are eligible to be inmate firefighters, right? There's a lot of classification that needs to change, which is something that we should really try to strongly advocate, because when you're an inmate firefighter, you're getting, I believe, 3 days of time for every 1 day you serve, and you have to be less than 8 years before you can become an inmate firefighter, right? So we don't get inmate firefighters for very long. We get them for 2.5 years, 3 years, and they're gone, right? They parole out, they're gone. That's something we need to change if you want to look at the overall structure of the fire camps. Because I'll be honest, why not have a low-level lifer that's on there? They're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere, and they do get more perks being at a fire camp.
And it's great
And it's
rehabilitation
great
too.
rehabilitation,
Yeah.
so I just kind of want to clarify that point, right? Because CCC
Right.
doesn't send the fire crews out,
So-
they just train.
So someone is saying, not to cut you off, someone was saying that CCC doesn't send those inmates out to fight those fires, but it comes from the Sierra,
No, the fire camps.
the fire camps. The information that was relayed to me by CCC, and those people on that page keep CCC open, they're not saying that. They're saying that those inmate firefighters do help fight those fires from the fire camps. So if I'm not saying it correctly, then I apologize. If you go on that keep CCC open page and state that, I can almost guarantee you, you'll get some responses. Yeah, that's fine. But this person who's saying this has worked in CDCR, and he knows what he's talking about. People in CDCR, I don't get involved in their discussions. They say, do this, do that, and that's kind of what I do, because they put their lives on the line behind that wall every single day. It's a 24/7 operation. So, okay, who has the next question? Yes, ma'am.
I'll let you go
No,
first.
go ahead, ladies first.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I want to bring up two things. You had mentioned something about Yvonne saying in solidarity, to, we're going to have those PLP days because the governor says California's broke.
Right.
Okay. I just listened to your Facebook thing about how afterwards, and I don't know the timeline because I don't watch TV at all, okay, at all. When did Gavin Newsom say, oh, it was a mistake, California's not broke?
Okay, so someone is asking, when did Gavin Newsom say the state, that, taking our money was a mistake, the state was not broke?
And what was Yvonne Walker's response after that to the governor?
Okay.
More money for recall.
What was that again?
She gave him more money to fight the recall.
Okay, so I was asked, did the governor ever admit that it was a mistake to take our money? I don't remember him admitting that. And then I was asked, what was the former president's response to that? I don't know if she ever had to make a response, because I don't ever remember him admitting that was a mistake. Well, I remember this. Last year, in May, I started up again, real strong, on Facebook. And I told people religiously, they tell you that we're broke, 54 billion in the hole. I don't believe it. I never believed it from the very beginning. They never showed us their financial statements. So when people always question me about reducing dues by 50%, and they want to know all the numbers, people who question me want to know every single thing, and they want me to say it out in the open. And if I say it all out in the open, then they say I'm being too transparent and I'm giving out secret information. And that's why I shouldn't do things out in the open. So if I'm a little vague, then they get mad about that. The state of California never showed you any financial statements that really state that there were 54 billion in the hole. But I would go back and say, just common sense wise, he said he needed our money for 2 days of pay. 2 days a month for 2 straight years. But the state officials, the state legislature, never lost a dime. I'm done talking. Because that's hypocrisy. But we didn't learn our lesson with Governor Brown in 2010 or in 2012. We didn't learn our lesson. Now we went through this POP, the 1920 POP. I'm sorry, fiscal year 2021 POP. Has Local 1000 learned its lesson? Has it? I mean, okay. So our union is it's out in the open. Our union is divided right now, and we're at a critical point for Local 1000 because our former president kept the union going for 13 straight years. 13 straight years, this union stayed vibrant. It stayed visible. Did we get substantial pay increases? I would say no. Did we get good job protection in the workplace? I would say no. But we all have opinions. Okay, next question. Then I'll come back to you. Okay.
When you brought up about the 2010, when we got furloughed, and
Yes, 2009, yeah.
I'm a Deber. I'm running for, well, I've been appointed to be Deber for Unit 11, and I feel I'll do whatever I need to represent our unit. And I kind of want to know what your view was on the no vote and your view on the revote that happened when we voted against the contract because we didn't, as a majority, agree with the contract. Many of the Unit 11 people I know personally lost their homes back in 2010 from that furlough. And we've been fighting to get, like I mentioned earlier, pay that we feel is fair for our classification. You know, we get all these comments from minions and whoever you want to call them. You make enough already. There were a lot of people going against us at the revote. They say go one place to vote, but you get there after driving, a lady told me for an hour, it wasn't the location, or they moved, or they left, and it was just a big fiasco on that revote. And we got a lot of disgruntled Unit 11 people. What is your view on what happened in that situation?
Okay, so I was asked about the revote for bargaining Unit 11 on its current contract. They voted the contract down the first time. The former president said they were given inaccurate information, false information, possibly from the VPs, the three current VPs, two of the current VPs, and they needed to do a revote. I would say that was wrong. That vote should have been respected the very first time. The smart people tell me that in the policy file for Local 1000, that it doesn't speak about not having a revote. So it's kind of out in the open, left up into interpretation. So the former president felt for the unity of the union that we must do a revote. And then when they had the revote, there was confusion about where they were having the voting places at. There was confusion. This is wrong. This is wrong. And this is why they don't like me doing live videos. Unscripted and unedited. Bargaining Unit 11 voted that contract down. They should have gone back to the negotiation table and got the contract they wanted, and possibly your money. When all those people who lost their homes and cars and marriages back in the furlough period, and I told people over 30,000 of our state employees lost all these materialistic things. Some lost their marriages. People said that I was wrong to say that, but it was the truth. No one wants to admit during that furlough situation they lost their home or their car was repossessed. That's embarrassing. And one thing I know about people in California, they don't like to be embarrassed. That's probably why I'm giving people holy hell right now, because I'll embarrass you. You know, it just came in my head. It just popped. So anyway, the vote should not have happened. I'm going to piggyback that to what's going on right now with the VP of bargaining. Irene Green won that election for the VP of bargaining. She should be the VP of bargaining right now. I didn't run with her. She ran on the former president's slate. But that's the truth. She should be the VP of bargaining. There should have been no re-election. Two people who ran for VP of bargaining should not have been able to run. They didn't catch it. Or was that done on purpose? I don't know. She won the election. and now they're doing a redo. The protest committee said, we're gonna do a redo. When I took office on June 30th, I had a discussion, and I said, that elections committee and the protest committee, I should appoint, because I'm the new president, and there should be no election until I set that election up. I was told I was wrong. Friday morning at 10:25, I was told, oh, Richard, you were right. You can appoint your elections committee and protest committee. And they said, but who are you going to replace them with? You just can't let those people go and not have their replacements. An email was sent. They were replaced by 1 p.m. Don't ever think for 1 second I'm not ready. Don't ever think that about me. I know people up and down this state. If you think I'm just talking for free, if you don't think my phone ain't being text, Facebooked, emails telling me this and telling me that about what's going on, you're wrong. Okay? It's sad that we're having this re-election for VP of bargaining when Irene Green won this, and she's being penalized for what the staff didn't do correctly. This is wrong. But they did it anyway. I can guarantee you this. We will have good, clean, fair elections. And on this next contract where I'm the chief negotiator, I'm gonna work with those 10 bargaining units. Actually 9, the 10th one isn't in our contract, the state bar. I'm gonna work with those bunk chairs. And I better not hear about no fishy business. And when a bargaining unit votes a contract down, that is what it's going to be. And they'll have to go back and renegotiate. But I can reassure you, you're gonna have to run me back to Missouri because there's gonna be some numbers in that contract. And so I ran on this platform. I'm not breaking from my platform. See, my platform, I don't want to say it's my commandments, but it's actually my contract to you. Our contract over the years has been broken over and over and over again. I'm not breaking my contract, that 10-point platform, to you. Does that mean I'm being inflexible and I don't want to work with you? No, but I'm standing by what I said, what I campaigned on, okay? I didn't campaign with the VPs. I ran alone. And even though I can't govern alone, that's my contract to you. And that's what I'm being held against. Bargaining Unit 11, you should have been able to go back to the table and renegotiate your contract. There should have been no second vote on that. They voted that contract down. They were told they were given bad information. I just wonder, because when's the last time that's happened? Oh, man. It was the early 2000s, late 1990s, where one of the bargaining units, or a couple of the bargaining units, did not go along, and they voted the contract down. It's way back in the past. And that's why I always tell people, you have to go back in your past and look at things and study things. So that if you don't study your past, and you keep saying the only thing you're focused on is going into the future, I can guarantee you, you'll make the same mistake. You'll make the same mistake. That's why going to college is all about. We go in the past, we study, we analyze, and then we look at the present so we can predict the future. Our union has not educated you about the past, about our mistakes and our failures. They've always told you we've always done things perfectly. We haven't done things perfectly. We have failed miserably. We're at 56% membership rate. I told you what happened with Bargaining Unit 11. How many of those members now are non-members? How many of the...
There's a lot.
Okay, hold on, y'all. That's gonna be too truthful. So, there's a possibility that some of those members in Bargaining Unit 11 have walked away. I want those people back. I want our union unified. Remember, I want a 97% membership rate. I'll take 90, but I want a 97. That means we're unified. And we can't unify by being in divisive politics. I cannot say this to you enough. Our country is divided on politics, whether it's racial, the COVID, universal health care, maybe we'll overcome that one. Marijuana, guns, whatever you want to call it. This country, we're not together. And if you think we're going to get together by tomorrow or next year, I don't think so. I think this is going to be a long ride. And I think in 2008, 2008 and 2012, America wasn't ready for that. I'm just telling you that. But I'm not political. Okay. Next question.
I wanna touch on that, just a little bit. I'm done.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I wanna touch on a little bit what he was saying, so I think the, kinda wanna know is like, how would you handle a no vote? Right, because if it's a no vote, does that mean it's no across all the bargaining units?
No.
Or just the one?
No.
So would that mean then, if Unit 11 voted no,
Mhm.
and you're trying to renegotiate, would that mean an SSA for them?
That's
So that's kind of what I was curious.
Right,
because I know
right.
You said you
So-
weren't a fan of SSAs, so it's kind of like, how would you get them to vote yes? if
So
you
here,
were a fan of
and
SSAs?
that's a great question. We have 10 bargaining units, the 10th one state bar, they're not in our contract. So we really have a hardcore 9. Here's your 3 squared. If a bargaining unit votes a contract down, they go back to the table. But the other bargaining units who passed their contract, they're good to go. Here's the thing. When we do our contract, if you open the page, on the inside cover, you'll see the president, the VPs, and the bargaining units with their signatures on it. Bargaining Unit 11, when they voted the contract down, they wouldn't have been in there. So they would have still fallen underneath the old contract. A president of a union does not want that. It makes the president look bad. So I see it from the former president's perspective that, oh no, you're gonna vote again on this. My thing is, they voted the contract down, they didn't like it. You claim that the VPs was giving them false information. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. No one knows quite for sure. But they voted the contract down. And so you said, well, since we didn't get our way on this, we're gonna make you vote again. And I was afraid that when you voted again, it was gonna pass because people would be upset and they would not want to turn out to vote.
There was a buildup over the last, say, 3 contracts. I've been to the bargaining table at least 2 or 3 times, talking about our issues, had documentation to justify everything. So it was before even the 3 VPs we even knew existed. So as far as their information, they had no information to give us.
Okay.
None of the VPs we even knew over this period of time of buildup. We built our membership up like we're supposed to do.
Right.
We all came out and voted. We t-shirt up, went to all the bargaining unit, up and down the whole state, the town halls. We participated in local events. We did everything that we were supposed to. And after we got a chance to go back to the bargaining table, we thought, and it didn't happen, and we got bamboozled, gerrymandering happened. We could, on this revote, people got disenfranchised, and then the membership, they just gave up on the union. Some people, not all of us.
I have a question on this point, is how can we ensure that our bargaining chairs are listening to our members? I felt like I was a dipper not a dipper, Deber, thank you. Last election, and my bargaining chair, when we went into to our SBAC, said she's not even discussing what was on the table and told us nothing, and did not want any input.
If I could piggyback on that, one of the things that we feel here in DLC 772, and I'm pretty sure the same DLC that he represents, is that the Central Valley seems to be discriminated against, whether it's in state government politics or whether it's within the union. And that's part of the reason is the politics, which is why getting out of politics would be a good idea, that we have a perception of being neutral, because when we start talking about politics, that's where the lines get drawn. And the Central Valley, I mean, it can be conservative. It's not necessarily true, but it shouldn't matter. It's a different culture. Many of us have an agricultural background, which makes you kind of conservative because you work hard, you learn to work hard and have a strong work ethic. And yes, the cost of living is lower here, but not anymore, thanks to teleworking. Do you realize how high inflation has gone up as a result of teleworking? Housing prices have skyrocketed for people who earn much less than the rest of the state of California. So we've been impacted greatly.
And we're not listened to.
And I want to make sure that the Central Valley is going to be represented and listened to.
Yeah, and we're not.
And that's part of the frustration, and I'll be honest with you, when you talk about CCC, you don't talk about DBI.
Gotcha.
Right.
I got you.
So every time you just mention them, it's frustrating because, like I said, the Central Valley, we get forgotten about, right? And so, like DBI, they are closing in a few months. The last wave of the less employed are getting moved down, things like that. So you know, like I said, I understand they're the ones, the next big one to be scheduled, but then we also have level 1 in Soledad, they're closing. We have level 1 in CCI, they're closing, but like, all we hear is last. So like,
Right.
it's a little frustrating, cause like
Right.
I said, we kinda get like
And-
that,
and
that,
so-
that dig of kind of,
Right.
whatever.
But-
DBI's already closed, let's forget about
No,
it.
no, wait,
I
no,
know,
yeah,
I'm
no,
just saying,
right.
I'm just saying, every time I just hear.
So let me say why,
Lassen.
yeah, and let me say why I preach so hard on Lassen. I keep saying this. When you take away that prison in Lassen, through no fault of their own, you're gonna destroy that community. These other prisons are a little different. Now, I'm not gonna get into an argument over which prison is the best prison, or which one should, no, because that's something that CDCR people do. If you work within CDCR, then you can talk about other people in these other prisons, because that's your right. I don't work in the prison system, so I have no right. I don't care if I am the president. So what? So I'm on Lassen because you're going to destroy those people's lives through no fault of their own. But I'm going to show you the comparison between DBI, Susanville, and a lot of these prisons in these, quote, small towns that have conservative values, who drive pickup trucks, who carry long rifles. I'm going to lay it out for you. This is who these people are. And I tell those people, embrace who you are. So I don't ever want other people in these other prisons to feel like it's all about Lassen. I don't care about you. I care about everyone equally. I just realized that Lassen, they say they're scheduled to close next year. They're trying to close them out now. And I know that the people in DBI, from what I was told, they have guaranteed transfers. Now, they didn't tell me those guaranteed transfers wouldn't bump somebody else out of a job. I haven't heard that part yet, but I'm sure I will hear it. But that Susanville is a different situation because of those inmate firefighters that is known across America. I want to go back to what another young lady said about the D-Birds not listening. I can reassure you, I'm sorry, the bunk chairs, forgive me. The bunk chairs will listen to people in their prospective bargaining units. That's a guarantee. You say, well, how are you so for certain? Because I know people are going to call me and text me and say, my bunk chair's not listening, Richard, what are you doing? And something's going to happen. And you may see me do a video saying, bunk chair so-and-so, what are you doing? So-and-so is trying to reach out to you. Are you reaching out to your people? Do you have your list of questions? Are you addressing their concerns? Are you? Because from what I'm hearing, all these years of these contracts, these bunk chairs have not been listening. So when they are upset about not having full-time union leave, because they said they don't have the time to do their meet and confers, my question is, why are people so upset with you over these contracts when you're leading these contracts under the leadership of the Local 1000 president? And so you know, under my leadership, how it's going down. You're getting paid. And we're getting the strike fund. And I want the TETs, the CCCRAs and the CDCR. There's a group of job classifications that are having severe problems. Oh, the heavens. Yeah. So there's a group. Every day I hear from y'all. I got the message, okay? I can't show the heavens favoritism. I can't show CDCR favoritism. I can't show the TETS favoritism. The people who were supposed to get that pay increase years ago, the CCCRAs, collections,
Correctional
case, yes, correctional case records analysts. They didn't get their money. The AGPAs are upset because they feel like they always get overlooked because we're a large group of people. Everyone's upset. And so how do I make everybody happy? Get you as much money as fast as I possibly can. But I need a strike fund, which means I have to drive up to due paying membership fast. I don't have all day. And the only way you can drive up that membership is you have to get out of politics. Our country is not healing in the next 2 or 3 years. I wanted to. I just don't see it. I just don't. You know, we can't agree on anything in this country. And then we don't agree, we yell and we scream at each other, whether it's on Facebook, the news media, in person. This is where we're at in the world today. So I'm doing everything I can to be open and honest about this. I am not trying to shortchange anybody. All I want to do is get you as much money as possible, 75 to 90% telecommuting, which the UAW 2350 staff, I can't make this up. The staff at Local 1000, I've been running my mouth so much that they've actually decided that they want to listen, and now they want the same thing. They want a 75 to 90% telecommuting. And they want a huge pay increase too. And not just the UAW 2350. Those managers, they smile at me. I know what they want. I know what they're doing right now. They're working from home, a lot of them. Sometimes they come in, sometimes they work from home. The same thing that you're doing. So I'm not saying one thing and then doing another. I'm staying consistent. I just didn't realize that saying these things to you, the staff would look at me and say, well, if it's good enough for them, the people that you represent, Richard, and by the way, we help you run this operation. Without us, you don't have anything. Then I'm caught. I have to give them the same thing that I'm trying to get for you. So when their contract comes up, if they don't get what they want, they're going to put me on blast. They are. And I already told them they can come on Facebook and put me on blast. Because I can't sit here and tell you, oh, I'm going to do all these great things for you. And then a contract comes up and it doesn't get done in that contract. Because then I'm a liar. And I'm not a liar. That's one thing I'm not. Okay. Wait, hold on. Oh, her question. And then you have another question? Okay, go ahead.
Well, this is completely a little off topic.
Right.
First, I commend you on your acronym memory. I know I'm completely lost on what you're saying. And the issue of fairness. I was brought up with the understanding that life is not fair. Okay, it is what you make of it. It's not fair. You can try to be fair. You can try not to be purposely unfair, but not everything's going to be fair for everybody.
Okay.
There's a lot of issues going on. There's a lot of people that have complaints. I think the number one thing that we need to address, and I think this is, and instead of just even separate departments or separate classifications, is for when we need to get more representatives so that we can actually represent, we can actually enforce the contract that we already have, okay? And also, with the bunks, the DBERS and everybody that has anything to do with bargaining, they need to be put on notice that if they're not doing their job, they're not communicating with members, that they need to actually, then they need to move on. The problem that we're having is you can't fix everything. You've been in office, 2 weeks? And you can't. And so don't try to put that on yourself, that you have to be responsible for answering everyone's questions and addressing everyone's issues. Yvonne Walker never did that.
Nope.
Yvonne Walker, she responded to people who were willing to kiss her ass.
Right.
Okay? And I'm sorry, Facebook. But that was it. Okay? As far as politics are concerned, I don't necessarily believe we need to stay out of all politics, but if it does not pertain to our contract, our pension, our health care, then I think we need to stay out of it. Because the politicians that we're giving money to, or the SEIU has given money to in the past, they take money from everybody. They're on everybody's side until they get elected to office. And once they're elected to the office, then whoever's paying the money at that time is who they cater to. So we need to maybe spend more time in politics dealing with issues that are specific only to the enforcement of our contract, like pensions and healthcare costs and different things like that, and then maybe implement some type of programs where people can get involved in leading, legislative efforts to get certain legislature on or voted on, or maybe notifying the public about that. But when it comes to actually backing up a politician, there's not many politicians I trust, period, on either side of the aisle at this point.
Okay. Wait. For the first time, not in the campaign, not since I've been elected, someone has called me out and got it right. I have said
772, please.
772. For the first time, and 771. For the first time, someone has called me out and got it right. And I'm smiling because I love it. I have said no politics and woo, 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 woo. However, that pension, oh yeah, we're going to fight for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. I think there's a CalPERS election coming up. Oh, you didn't think I knew? Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's, no. Wait a minute. Hold on. Teresa's, I think it's next year. So, there's a CalPERS election coming up. Someone said, Richard, are you going to have some type of little town hall or debate for those running for the CalPERS election? Because it affects our pension.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's politics. Oh, man. And on my platform, I said, no politics, contract negotiations, and job representation. But that's pension. And I'll run through a wall for that pension. Mm-hmm. So, oh yeah, we'll be involved in that. I think we should have a debate, a town hall with the candidates running for those 2 spots. I think that's a brilliant idea. Hope you're listening, staff. I hope you're listening. Now, someone also sent me a call or a message. This recall election is September 15th or 14th. I don't know the exact day.
Ballots go out 14th
Of August?
of August, and the election, I believe, is the.
September 15th?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've been asked, why doesn't Local 1000 have the governor come down and talk about the importance of him being fighting off this recall? Why doesn't he come down? Any of the other candidates that are running, they can all come down and talk together, because people, the person said, Richard, we can't afford to have Gavin recalled. And the Local 1000 position is that we oppose the recall. That's what they did on June 2nd. This person said he needs to come down and tell everyone that 2 days of pay that we lost, that he's paying it back to us. And that the essential worker premium pay, that he's going to give us that money too. And they said that he would love to come down and tell us that. And that would send a clear-cut message to you, Richard Lewis Brown, you, that you're wrong, and that when he says these things, then, Richard, you can smile and relax a little bit. You don't have to be so uptight and tense. That person's not wrong. That person's not wrong. Now, I don't know if Gavin has the time to come down and talk to us. I think if he did, and he talked about paying you back that money that he took for 2 days and getting you that premium worker pay, I don't know if you need me anymore. I know that. Oh, well, that $600 stimulus check, that's fine. That's a great thing. But the calls I'm getting from people say, we've been working and keeping the 4th largest economy going during this great COVID crisis. Where's our money? And where's our back pay? Now, that's the calls I get every day. That's what I get. People want their money. And last time I checked, if you're an American, you want your money. Like yesterday. So, going back, the pension and that health care, those are hot button issues. And we need people who are fighting to keep our pension strong, and also fighting on that CalPERS board to not raise those rates out in the future. I think I agree with that. And I don't know if the candidates running for the 2 CalPERS positions, if they'll even want to come down and talk to us about their views and how they feel about pensions and about the healthcare costs. Okay, enough. Ma'am.
You said people are asking for their back pay. What back pay?
What people are saying to me, ma'am, is the 2 days of pay we lost for a whole year, they want that money back.
We're getting it back. That money is being restored July 1st.
Well, no. So I thought they were working on. I thought they were working.
The 9.23%.
So I thought they were
pay cut that we
looking
had
into
last year.
buying back that time. We have a committee. Fortunately, it closes next year. Whatever, right?
Right.
But our actual back pay, they're gonna from a committee, I don't know whose committee.
Right.
That was just on the side letter.
Mhm.
Being the state buying back our time
Mhm.
to pay us back for this last year, the 2 POP days.
Mhm.
As far as I remember, I mean, I could have read the side letter wrong, but
I
that's
did
what
hear
the
that,
side.
but the
that's what
problem
side
is
letter
like
said.
with our department, we had to use those days before we used any
But
other
we can
days.
sell anytime.
Yeah,
So-
so we
so-
could,
so
we
like
couldn't
if-
use our sick, we couldn't use our
So,
vacation, we couldn't
yeah.
use anything, we had to use our PLP first. So
Us too, yeah.
basically,
But-
they've negated that,
No,
that
no,
whole
wait,
issue's
no,
gone.
because it was
Wait a minute.
any-
Go ahead, ma'am.
any-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
any-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, the 2 days of PLP
Mhm.
that stopped July 1st
Right.
of this year, this year.
Right.
Those 2 days of PLP, if we still have those hours from that accumulation
Mhm.
left,
Right.
we can use that whenever.
That's correct.
So we got 2 additional days off per month in lieu of the 9.23% pay cut.
That's right.
That was the trade-off.
Right.
So are you saying that people want, they want the years long of 9.23%, they want that back instead of the 2 days?
No,
of
it-
You
PLP?
can't feed your
It
kids
is.
with days off.
I'm asking a question.
It is in. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was gonna-
The impression I'm getting from people is they want the money, and we know some people used the day, some people didn't, and like they said, you know,
You had
they
to.
don't want. Well, I think you're gonna get to this point. That side letter agreement, the first one, POP had to be used in front of a vacation, or
Sick.
but not sick, but not sick.
Right.
So
Our
he wants,
department
yeah.
said sick too.
But
No.
They switched it over.
Yeah,
If you
they said
put
no
something
sick.
besides sick, besides PLP, they switched it over for you, and there was a notice that went out
But-
to that effect.
That's a violation.
That's a
We
violation.
didn't have a right to do
Yeah,
that.
they shouldn't have done that. And
You didn't see the letter that went out?
well,
It doesn't matter what they say, it's still a violation, we didn't agree to it.
Did you address that as a steward?
okay, hold on, hold
Did you
on.
agree with that issue?
Wait a minute, hold on.
Oh,
hold
I
on.
didn't realize that we were supposed to come to somebody if you were a steward, especially a senior steward, and there was an issue.
Well,
with
hold on,
contractual
hold on,
issues.
hold on, hold
Well,
on.
I don't know you're having an issue if you don't tell me.
You don't read the documents?
If
Okay,
you don't
so-
tell me you're having an issue, how am I supposed to know?
Right. So listen. There. Boy. All right. So there may have been just a little bit of confusion. This is why I do these videos, because it's easy to get certain statements confused. It's always easy because I sometimes I may do that. Sometimes it's easy to get the numbers confused. And if you're not working those numbers over and over and over again, sometimes you may forget. So there may have been some mistakes made. What I know is this: people are upset about this money. And then the fact that when I made the comment in the video, the essential worker pay from the federal government, that $27 billion that came to us, or it's on its way to us, the the Treasury said, if you worked from home as a teleworker, you're not entitled to that money. That's not going to sit well. Okay, she'll go first and then I'll come next. Yeah, go ahead.
So just to kind of respond to what you just said, there's a lot of employees that they might work from home. I should say their office is at home. I start my day at home, and then I leave my home to go out in the field what I need to do. I come back to my home. So in essence, it's like a form of the truth. I am teleworking from home, but I'm out in the field. They call that teleworking from home.
But that's not, okay, I did not know that. Someone just said that as a teleworker, you could actually work from home for a little period and then go out in the field and work and then come back home and then you're considered a teleworker. I did not know that. Okay, go ahead.
I was also, with respect to their loss of income, we lost that pay raise that we were due under our contract for an entire year. Now, I would like to see that 2% paid to us retroactively, because now as a result, getting it now at the 4 point whatever, we still have that year that we lost. And on top of that, we're facing rising inflation. I want my 2%.
So wait,
that I lost.
so the 2% is on July 1st, 2021, that 2%. She's referring to the 2.5 from last year. Now, the way it was explained to me, and I think it was explained by the former president, 2.5 from last year on July 1st, 2% for this year on July 1st, that's 4.5, and then they added that 0.05 that they claim would make up for last year's 2.5 coming on July 1st this year. So I'll say it again. The 2.5% from last year we're getting on July 1st this year. The 2% for this year we're getting also on July 1st. Total 4.5. And then they 4.5. Hold on. 4.5. Then they added 0.05 to make up for the 2.5 that's being paid to you late. So it was a total of 4.55 minus the OPEB that they brought back of 3.5 for a net total of over 2 years. Well, the 2 years is not complete yet, but for 2 years, a net pay increase of 1.05. So that doesn't sit well with some people in our union.
It's an extra change.
And so those numbers I know like the back of my hand. And so, this is not, and so when people were saying, look, we need our 2.5 from last year, what the government did, they said, okay, we'll give it to you back, but we're gonna bring that OPEB back at 3.5 that was scheduled for, well, it's actually scheduled for last year on July 1st, 2020, because it was part of the prior contract. So you got your pay increase, but they added, they took away from the 3.5. 3.5 took away from that. We've been better off just getting the 2% this year and then the 2.5 coming next year. But
We got screwed again.
Yeah.
right, so yeah.
And with that,
And rent went up.
we were already paying
They're good at
2.3.
Oh, yeah, Big Joe.
So the OPEB only increased 1.2. So that was scheduled from the
Yeah.
2016 contract.
That's right.
Right, so we
That's
were
right.
scheduled for that.
That was scheduled.
So the way that I see it, right,
Uh-huh.
and again, it depends on how you see it too. From my pay from June 30th, 2020, before the PLP, before the OPEB increased, compared to now, our OPEB went up 1.2%,
Right,
right?
right.
And we got the 4.55% raise. So I still see it as a 3.5% raise compared to my June 30th, 2020 pay to my July 1st, 2021 pay.
See, I would strongly disagree with that. You know why?
What's that?
Because even though 1.2 for the OPEB was added, an additional 1.2 to 2.3, that's not how you're gonna fill it in your check. You're gonna fill that in that check at that 3.5.
If
See-
that's the case, then
Right.
we didn't lose 9.23. We lost 5.92.
Uh-huh. No, no,
So
we,
I was saying, so if we're gonna do math
Mhm.
full on that way,
Right.
we didn't lose 9.23%. We gotta subtract that 3.5%.
see, I disagree with that.
So,
I
but
no,
I'm saying,
well,
but
right, because
it's math. If we're gonna subtract the bottom of what we got our paycheck,
He's right, that's the way the math works.
yeah,
We got the.
we didn't, yeah, we
I-
didn't lose 9% take home. We lost 5.92 take home.
right, well, wait a
So
minute.
I'm saying,
No,
so if we're
no,
talking about
I
our
would,
bottom line paycheck,
you know what?
That's what we lost from our.
And then
Here-
those with salary, special salary adjustments got those, so that was
Exactly.
another
So-
5 or
so-
7%, so they got an increase.
So some got broke even, or some got
Like
1% deduction.
our vice chair and our chair
You
for our
know?
units.
So wait a minute, hold on.
If we're talking about just straight math.
Well, wait a minute. See, this is the funny thing
Funny how that
about
works.
math. People can take numbers and they can present them in different ways to argue their point. Here's what I know: the 3.5 never took off from last year on July 1st.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And the 2.5 didn't kick off either. So if you look at it like that, then I would say, okay. What I know is this: we lost 2 days of pay, period, for a whole year. I look at that number. I look at what actually happened versus just looking at it on a piece of paper through numbers.
Yeah.
Because when you go home to feed your family, that's how you should look at it. What is your net income? So when it's all said and done with all the tricks and accounting and all that, what's the net income of your check? And what up? Well,
So what's the net between getting rid of OPEB and adding the PLPs? What's the net?
But see, my thing is this. Well, hold on. If he's looking at it like, if we would have never lost the 2 days of pay, we would have got a 2.5%, okay, on July 1st, 2020. But that OPEB would have kicked off at 3.5.
Yeah.
And this is the contract that we brag about, that people passed. See, and so when people tell me that politics matters, and I'm saying not by that contract, it doesn't. So you. Well, hold on, wait, hold on, wait, a minute. On this current contract, you're right, because that 3.5 came from the prior contract that should have been part of that prior contract and not delayed to this contract. So again, when people do live videos, and the more you talk to me, and you say, well, hold on, Richard, I'm gonna pivot, and I'm gonna come around this direction and talk to you. Then I'm gonna pivot right to the other direction and say, where's your politics at?
I'm not pivoting though. You're talking about net, right?
Right.
You're talking about our net
Okay,
pay.
okay.
But, so you gotta address our net pay. So that's what I'm saying. So if you're gonna say our net pay, we didn't lose 9.23 for our net.
What I'm saying
Right.
is, if you look at your, no,
Because we got OPEB back.
right. But wait a minute.
So we didn't
In
lose
your check
9.23.
on July 1st, at the end of the July pay period in 2020, you lost 9.23%. Period.
No, at OPEB.
Because the OPEB wasn't subtracted. The 2.3.
So adding 2.3 back.
Okay. You know what? That's a great point.
Yeah.
But people don't see it like that. I mean, you're saying that, both of you, and it looks like you're. Wait a minute. If you were saying that 9.23, but they didn't subtract the 2.3, then you're saying, okay, then you didn't lose the whole 9.23. But that's not how people feel about that. It's just not.
You have to look at your net. When you get your paycheck at the end of this month,
Yeah.
you're
Right.
gonna know.
So they took the OPEB, but here's the thing. They took
Our net pay, we didn't lose
right.
9.23%. I didn't lose 9% of my paycheck the whole time.
Because the OPEB went away.
Because OPEB went away.
Right.
Well, some
But-
people
but-
got an increase. What about
Some people
special
got-
salary
yeah,
adjustment
yeah,
people?
yeah.
They got an increase.
Yeah.
They didn't lose
So no one lost
9.23.
9%.
Again,
You know, I'm just saying.
no, that sounds good, and it's factual. It's factually right.
Previous administration did
Right.
not explain
But here's the thing,
any
though.
of that.
Here's the thing.
And stupid
That sounds good, but that's not how the papers reported it. And if you have to look really deep into those numbers to see that, and I know people don't look that deep into the numbers, what they hear from what the paper is being reported over and over and over again is 9.23. That's what they hear. That's the number they're stuck on. And so for me to try to go back and clean all that up, then I got to do videos 10 times a day.
Well, you also have people too that
What-
did not get the deduction because of the $15 minimum. They were not subject to the 9.23 or PLP.
They were, but the raise offset it.
Yeah,
They were, but they were offset because of the raise.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
that's not the way
Oh.
our paper.
I agree with what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, the papers keep saying,
Mhm.
9.23.
Right.
The papers don't understand math. They understand hysteria.
Mm.
Our dues paying members, bless their little hearts, believe what they're told. This was never explained to them. I know math. I love mathematics.
Okay.
I was not Yvonne Walker's strongest supporter,
Okay.
okay? Once we agreed to a PLP, her approach at mitigating the actual financial impact was outstanding. I did see a reduction because of my pay raise, or my pay grade, whereas PTs actually saw a few dollars increase, and I don't know what their pay grade is, but it's a little bit lower than mine, because of the way that she mitigated the loss.
The healthcare differential.
The healthcare differential.
The
It's not,
percentage is different.
it's a limited, $200 and something dollars.
Yeah.
260. It's 260.
Hang on a second, okay?
Okay. I'm sorry.
I haven't finished speaking
Go ahead,
at
go
any
ahead.
point
You
yet.
have the
Go
floor.
ahead.
By
I'm
God,
sorry.
I'm finishing this time.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay? So, and some people didn't get that healthcare, bonus because they didn't have Kaiser. Okay, whatever, so they're gonna see a little bit of a loss, but it's not 9-point-something%. Because we keep throwing around these percentages like, oh, well, we're gonna get 2.3 and a 8.4 off the OPEB or whatever. The thing is, all of these percentages aren't always equal. And our members, again, listen to the newspapers without using common sense, okay? When we get a 2% healthcare increase, it's not 2% of my entire wage, it's 2% of what I'm already paying to healthcare. So when you tell me my 2% raise is negated by my 2% healthcare increase, that is BS. They say it to piss off people and get them to fight amongst each other and not communicate. So if you accomplish nothing else, I mean nothing else.
Right.
Get somebody that understands what a damn calculator is and how to use it to explain this to people that are not willing to learn it. And I'm not saying I look at it and magically understand, or that my genius calculator brain figures out to the frickin' penny. But what I do is wait until I see my check and I look at the goddamn numbers and compare them to last month.
Right.
And it's all right there.
I got you.
She did a great job of mitigating our loss after she screwed up and accepted the damn thing in the first place, because if she hadn't accepted it, we'd be suing the goddamn governor right now for breach of contract under false pretenses, and we'd take his goddamn pants and get our money back. But we can't do that because we agreed to it. But again, if you want to calm your membership down, use a calculator. Don't be throwing this percent, that percent, and use words like compounded, because that's what you guys are talking about when you're saying, well, we got a 2.5 and a 2.0, and then they added a 0.005, and then they had to subtract the 3.2. Well, the 2.5 is being enacted now, but compounded for the year that's passed, so that you're not being harmed from this 2.5. Then you're getting your increase this year of 2.0. Our contract, as of July, is being back to honored, and we are being made whole. Now this hysteria about wanting to be paid for PLP days. PLP days are not furlough days. Your money was not taken from you. You were given time off. Don't ask for your cake after you've eaten it. Now, if you've saved your PLP days, and most of you did, you can sell them back. Maybe they'll negotiate that. If you haven't, you can still sell them back. Quit being stupid. Every year they offer to buy 2 weeks. Sell the goddamn things if you don't want them.
What they did this year. May I speak to that? Not every department does that.
Okay, well, in that case, departments that the entire union should be permitted, okay, to sell 24 days back of your leave. If you didn't use it, you've got it. I used PLP days. Does it matter? No, I've got 700 hours of leave. If I want the leave, I'm going to take the damn leave.
Wait, hold on, sir. That person just said that they had the 640, that they would never break our contract. That's what that person said. Go ahead, sir.
So that's the thing. All of this, we lost all this money. We gained 24 days of vacation, okay? You may not have wanted to take them. Most people I knew that used those days, they didn't take vacation. We're all flat broke. They took staycations, but we still chose to do it, okay? No one made me. No one came. I stand corrected. Someone did come to me and say, you have to use vacation, you're over 640. Okay?
Thank you.
And I said, I'm over 640 because of PLP. You go ahead and put that in writing, because I'm going to go to the union and you're going to have to explain this shit, because this is a mixed message. You can't do this like you did before.
That's right.
When we got furloughed before, they started to try and force me to work overtime on the furlough days. Okay? So I wanted it in writing. As soon as you tell them to put it in writing, all of a sudden, I'm not being held to the 640, because shit, they can't give me any of my time off that I asked for anyway. They're not going to give me my PLP days. Now, I used some, but I used them because I chose to. I'm not going to ask you to get me recompensated for something I've already been compensated for. And the membership wanting to do both things, you people are out to lunch.
I think what we're saying is that that should have been written in the agreement, that we did not have to use the PLP days before we used anything else.
You are correct.
So
It
that
should
we could have
been
had that
in the
option, cause I
agreement.
agree with you, I
But
would much
again,
rather have the time,
Our former
but not
leader-
everybody's in that situation.
I believe that our former leader was well aware that she was
Oh,
not
no.
gonna be reelected. And all she wanted was to, cruise through her last year. But she really did a good job of mitigating the damage. I freaked out. When we got
There was nearly no damage though. We're 15 billion in plus, really?
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing.
I mean,
But if we had taken the huge loss that was initially presented, I'd have been screwed. And she mitigated
it
the loss.
wasn't as bad as initially, like it was supposedly.
When he
10%
proposed
cut,
like
right?
15% and no giving us health care and.
That was
it
all just.
That would have
That
been.
was all just.
That was
Yeah.
called smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
That was state.
Smoke and mirrors.
She did.
Well, I think that big number was thrown out there. Now, whatever she did was gonna be great.
She already had
even
that
though-
figured out.
Yeah.
Right.
That was already done.
Exactly. I'm just saying.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
Don't
We can't
ask
have-
for both.
Yeah, you can't have both, but we should have not been forced to use our PLP first and been given the option to buy it back later. Because if you couldn't use sick, vacation, or anything else,
Well, my simplification of the numbers, okay, and I understand that right now the state keeps track of PLP and then vacation or annual leave, however you have it, and then sick. But if this crap goes to court, or if we get the governor to agree, which if he's smart, he will, if he's gonna buy these days back, it will be simply limited to, we will buy back, we will let you sell 24 days of leave, regardless of whether it's classified as PLP or vacation or annual leave, because your pay rate is the same for any of them. And if you are a employee that is climbing up the ladder, okay, it's gonna work out better for you, because you've gotten your step increase along the way. So,
it's better
let's
than
quit pissing and moaning about 12 days until we figure out if we're gonna get it back. But when you're explaining to people what the loss was and what we're going for now, you need a graph and you need somebody with mad math skills to make this very
Because every
simple and
unit's different,
understandable to my 7th grade son,
Right.
or I mean 7-year-old son, who actually understands this crap because we put it out to him and he asked it. His mother is a math teacher, a high math teacher. So he asked, how did your pay raise go and what are you talking about your contract? I'm not kidding you, because my son wants to know why it is that dad's working so hard, because I have my job that I work. I have a second job that I have declared under the conflict of interest crap that I work.
Right, we got you.
I have 2.5 acres that I have to take care of because I can't afford to have somebody do it. So, I go to work. I work my 8 hours. I no longer work overtime. I go home, I work, and they don't understand that 10% off of a $90 item is not, $9.50. So, has now multiple times said, nobody's paying attention to me. What should never ever happen to our members. My kid should not be, but when he wants to know why he's being neglected, and we show it to him in math, and he understands it, sample paychecks. I don't give a shit whose check you pull, take a name off of it and say, this is so-and-so's check, Mr. Smith's check, which this is all public information anyway, from a year ago today and now, and this is what the difference is. People can't argue with it. They're gonna look at the numbers, they're gonna feel like, oh my God, I've been feeling all this abuse, and actually I made another extra $7 because I'm a low pay class in Kaiser. What the hell am I bitching
but
about?
every single person's job and classification is different. That's
I
why,
understand
that's
that.
why there's that generalization of the 9.23.
I
Because that just pretty
understand
much
that.
cuts to the quick, yeah.
And so you grab a low paying member with the most severe impact, a low paying member with the least severe impact, and say your range is from here to here.
Yeah,
And your upper members, or your different position, your range may be from here to here. But you can still present that. You can have your job stewards or your labor people present that to the members that it's impacting in their agencies, so that people can quit being pissed off and get back to the issue. The real issues that we have had over this last year is, we all work. We're a lot better off than a lot of people. I understand it wasn't perfect.
Well, so wait a minute.
But at this point, you need to get people to quit being so mad that they don't want to talk. We sound just like Republicans and Democrats. We got trumpeters on one side and garble talk Biden's on the other side.
But hold on.
Everybody's screaming at each other.
But wait a minute.
If we calm people down and really look at what damage occurred and what was, we gotta build from here and go on. We can't keep looking back at.
But wait a minute. See, this is, you know what this reminds me of about this money? This reminds me of college. We're talking about all these numbers. Last time I checked, most Americans can't do math. We're lucky they can read and vote in elections. Right. So hold on. No, you're right. But here's the thing, though. This reminds me of the salary stipend from years ago. If we had enforced our contract, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
No, I agree 100%.
Oh, our contracts, huh?
Well, no, but not just about the bad contract. But if we would have enforced our bad contract, we wouldn't have to go through all this.
Yeah.
It's just, all this extra talk because you wouldn't put your foot down. And then, I understand about the OPEB going away for a period of time. So was it a true 9.23 if we weren't losing that 3.5? It wasn't a true 9.23. But that's not how you felt. And sometimes people said, the way I feel, and sometimes the papers can make people feel a certain way and sometimes it doesn't. People felt like they were losing 9.23, even though the OPEB had stopped and they started that 260 medical stipend, which is a funny thing that you brought that up, because I was on Flexolec. They took my Flexolec, my 128, they took it from me and said, you will take that 260. They just said, you will take the 260. So you say, well, hey, Richard, take the extra money. But what if I don't want to? Nope, you don't have a choice. And so sometimes in our country, when we talk about politics, when people just say, you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and you don't have no choice, that causes a problem. Here's what I'll say.
Especially when you got a union.
We have a union. We should have enforced our contract. If we hadn't enforced our contract, would people be asking about that COVID pay and the hero pay and the essential worker pay? So all of this because the president and the bunk chairs decided to give up your money. But yet I show up on the scene and I'm the bad guy because I said we should enforce our contract because we didn't enforce our contract this time. We didn't do it with the 2010, the 2012 POP, and we didn't do it with the prior contract that was under Schwarzenegger. I'll say this to everyone in this room. We won't sign a contract where it doesn't state that we are protected against furlough, POP, or any other super educated mathematical, whatever, financial reduction, and that we're going to have safe working conditions, I guess, but that's what we're supposed to have, and that your job responsibilities won't be stopped where you have to go do this skip tracing for COVID, and that you won't suffer any job loss, period. Now that's a contract. I wouldn't touch the outsourcing yet, but that's a contract that I'm going to lead, and that's going to be signed. That's a real contract. No pay reductions, job security, your job's not being taken from you because they're closing prisons because of social justice, which is a good thing. Social justice is a good thing. But don't create social justice by letting people out of prison early and then create a social nightmare for the people who are working at the prisons. That's not a good thing. And so, I see this pendulum of social justice. I remember in the 80s where I'm from, crack cocaine was knocking people off. Crack cocaine was sending many people to prison. They couldn't build their prisons fast enough in these little rural towns across America. Now, they say that Black Lives Matter and that, everything's hunky-dory, I guess. So now they want to let people out of prison early. But when the crack cocaine epidemic hit America, I didn't see no social justice then. So what changed? So, everyone has an opinion about these different things. All I'm simply trying to do is unify our union, stop the political spending, try to get some peace among people, have good job representation, because we're going to have more job reps. We're going to have a lot more job reps. You're going to see a really new way of doing things for Local 1000. We're going to protect our people in the workplace. That I can guarantee you. Okay, we've been going, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I kind of did want to push back on if you wouldn't have had the PLPs, people
Right.
wouldn't be complaining about the COVID pay.
Right.
I'm sorry, I disagree with that.
You disagree with that? Go ahead, go
I strongly
ahead.
disagree.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Working in the prison system, especially my prison.
Right,
We had the biggest concentration of COVID cases anywhere in the country.
right.
We worked through hell. We had to wear these stupid N95 masks anytime we were on grounds for our whole 8-hour shifts, constantly. So I disagree, right? Even if we didn't get PLPs, I still strongly say that we should have gone COVID pay and everything else, because
Fair enough.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
to deal with that, you know, how many of our staff members got sick? How many of our staff members' parents passed away? Because luckily we were fortunate none of our staff passed, right? But we lost a lot of parents. We lost a lot of parents. So that's where I disagree, because like I said, it was hell having to deal with this and still keep working. So on top of doing our regular job, now
Right.
we have COVID on top of it. So I said, I want to push back on that, because
Okay.
if we would have had a full paycheck, I guarantee you there still would have been a conversation.
So a person said they wanted to push back on the fact that if we enforced our contract, people wouldn't be asking for the COVID and stuff. This person is speaking from a CDCR perspective, because they had to continue to go into work, and they should still be recognized for the work that they did. Here's what I would say to respond to that. He's not wrong, but neither are the people who work from home either. So I can't just say that only certain people should get this money. Everybody, all state employees for the state of California should get, and not no couple $100s either. Hopefully you'll agree with me on that.
Yes.
It should, okay? So that should be a substantial number, a substantial amount, not no small amount. I'll stop there. Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Well, as a nurse, I felt the same way, because I had to go into the nursing homes and go into the red zone, which was all COVID patients. I had to wear the N95, the face shield, the gown, everything, and stay in there. Once you entered that facility, if you were doing investigation or infection control, you had to stay there the whole time. And so I would work in that unit, come out, and just think I was gonna pass out from that N95. And yet we were not tested. We were sent into the facilities that we mandated that the employees and all the residents be tested, but we were not tested. So sometimes I felt like we were probably the ones that were exposing those people to COVID. And we were not tested until a few months ago, which was totally wrong. But, you know, it was just really disheartening to see what we went through. I had one of my nurse friends that passed away from COVID, young. So it was a lot of extra. I felt really, really stressed.
They wouldn't test you? They wouldn't?
No, they did not test us until later. It was awful. I said to our manager, I said, this is wrong. Well, we'll just listen to what the headquarters said. I said, I don't care. I've been a nurse for 50 years. I know, and it was wrong.
Other states did test.
Other states did, but not us. What we did was terrible.
So we've been going for a while, and hopefully I was able to listen. People had agreements, they had disagreements. We started kind of rough. Somehow we made it through. And I wanted everyone to be able to ask their questions. Some people had made repeated comments. This is a start of something great. I wish we had enforced our contract. I wish that we weren't involved in politics. And I still say Lassen, but I'm not forgetting the other prisons. And I'm not forgetting about the Central Valley or Pelican Bay. I'm going up there, I guess a 7-hour ride. I'm going to all these work sites. I'm coming to LA. That's going to be probably a few days. I was not trying to meet a lot of people today. I was just coming to build an alliance with the Bunk Chair 20. But she reached out to other people, so a lot of people showed up. Okay, this is Sunday. So for some people, the work week starts tomorrow. For some, it starts right now. I told you that I'd go around the clock. Why am I working so hard, so quickly? CDCR works hard. State hospitals, you work hard. Caltrans works hard. A lot of people in the state work hard. We're not lazy. We're not unintelligent. We don't care. We're not the thing that we don't care about our jobs and we just collect fat pensions. That's a lie. If I have failed to articulate these numbers that can be interpreted so many different ways by intelligent people, more intelligent than myself, fair enough. I never claim to be the smartest person in the room, but the one thing I know how to do, I can send a message and I can get at you. So I want to thank everyone in DLC 772 along with 771 for today. This was unscripted, unedited, unrehearsed. I hope you have a great work week in the state of California. My name is Richard Lewis Brown, Local 1000. Today was July the 18th, 2021. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.